internet.
We are alive. You always get so like tickled like at how that ends and then comes in.
I feel like every time it's just not going to happen, and we'll get to the end of the song and be like,
it's a video. It's
show over.
We made a countdown and a song matchup. We've really reached the peak of what the two of us can do.
My post-production skills are limited, and I do what I can. Welcome, everybody. This is the Tribal Mischief podcast on the Tribal Mischief Podcast Network. What? It's the what? It's the Tribal Mischief podcast.
It is. Still 8 episodes in, and it is still the Tribal Mischief podcast. 8 episodes. I mean, it's not a lot compared to some, but it still feels, it's crazy.
It's one of those funny things where, you know, there are a lot of artists getting into the sort of streaming world right now and doing shows. And what I find with a lot of them when we talk to them, and when, you know, I've talked to them privately, it's consistency that seems to be the stickler for a lot of artists is the repetition and creating a schedule and keeping to it. Yeah. Not necessarily just the streaming, but it's the every Tuesday I'm streaming, you know, Thursday I'm doing Q&A, you know, like whatever that schedule is, that I hear most often that's the challenge. So maybe that's what we're dealing with.
We have consistently gotten together every Sunday night at 8 o'clock on twitch.tv/Tribal Mischief.
And you weren't even in your studio last week. You were...
No, I work in IT by day, and so I put together a traveling kit of... It's very ridiculous. Multiple monitors and a laptop and all this stuff. I was at my parents' last weekend, and my dad walked into the dining room and wondered what the hell I'd done to the dining room. So
it sounds like your dad.
and it sounds like me. I was like, Dad, this is nothing. You should see the office at home. It's kind of crazy.
I'm next week. I'm potentially going to be on the island.
Oh,
for our show. Now that'll be interesting.
If anyone wants to see Ethan's video over a 56K modem, tune in next week, 8 p.m. Tribal Mischief, twitch.tv/Tribal Mischief. Yeah.
It'll be fun. But let's, good catching up with you as always. But let's get through our announcements so we can get on our guests, because this week we have like one of my favorite people in the world and someone that's meant the world to us.
We always pump up our guests. He's going to actually yell at us for pumping him up.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
He's actually finger. I wish, man, if I'd cut over quick enough, I would have thrown him on the screen. We turned on the explicit tag just for you this week. So we're ready for it.
So, really quickly, 3 announcements. Merchandise. We showed it off last week. I sort of got a better picture, but we've got the notebooks. Tribal Mischief notebooks are out there. And new this week, limited item. We only have 20 of them. So if you want it, get them now. Again, post-production is something I'm working on. So
you did.
So I'm super jazzed because I own that mug and shot that little thing on. But like I've been having fun with it. Came in and Jen saw me getting really excited opening this black mug, and she was like, "It's a regular mug," and I was like, "No. It's the simple things that make me happy.
It is
simple things." So as far as other announcements, this week, Thursday, is the Lounge Stage. The Lounge Stage, this will be our 11th year of doing it, our first year virtually, the first year with Tribal Mischief. We'll be presenting it without our magnificent partner, Scott Jones. who is putting together a retrospective of the last 10 years of stages, which is really quite awesome, because he has literally recorded the audio and the video for all of them from the very beginning, which is over 200 artists presented to well over 3,000 people. So I'm excited about that.
At www.theloungestage.com, which
Yes.
has got an unbelievable job hosting all that stuff for us.
And as such, this week's sponsor, in the sense that we're doing our best to promote them, is our friends over at Falcon Ridge. We're doing a virtual conference starting Thursday through Sunday. And I know a lot of friends of ours have put a lot of time into doing that. Eric Schwartz, Neil Eckstein, and many others. So I'm excited to see how that goes down. We're excited to play a part of it with the Lounge Stage. And we just started announcing the participants in that, which is even another reason why I'm excited to have Vance here, because Vance is going to be part of the Lounge Stage in just 4 days. He's putting up with us twice in a week, which is
that's a lot. It's a lot,
and we appreciate it.
We do.
So I don't have any more announcements. Do you?
No, I think that's about it. It's a it's a big week. We are, my van is not full of camping gear. Ethan is not driving a truck of gear up. I might just camp in the backyard, bring all the monitors down there, and just do it from the backyard this week.
I am definitely planning on fire pitting at least 2 or 3 times this week.
Yeah,
I feel like it's just going to be necessary.
Yep.
And this time we didn't have to bring the 200-pound green egg 200 miles away to enjoy barbecue. I can just do it in my backyard. So I'm excited.
And remember when Dan brought a quarter of a pig up to Falcon Ridge?
Yeah, I asked him to pick up a pork shoulder. Because pork shoulder at most butchers is like that 2 to 3 pound. He got the entire leg.
Oh my God.
And I just remember looking at it being like, I don't know what to do with that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, today was interesting. All my Facebook memories were all Facebook because Falcon Ridge used to be a week earlier. And so all my Facebook memories were Falcon Ridge from 9 or 10 years ago when we started this thing. There was even one from 11 years ago when we had the pre-lounge stage thing in that long carport that we used to cart out there.
The rainy year. I remember that. That was fun.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we invite Vance in?
Let's do that. He looks ready. He's not flipping us off at the moment, so now is a good. We should catch him while he's not flipping us off. Vance Gilbert.
What?
You freeze? Oh, you!
Well done.
I did the freeze. Joe, you and I look alike, man. Why do you have to look like me?
Isn't
it something though?
Yeah, it is.
Man, you got me feeling like a Republican. Well,
what? What happened?
I don't know where that came from. I'm sorry. I'm old.
I don't understand.
I'm gonna say stuff.
Do you want? Well, I hope so. It's an interview show, so it falls flat if you don't.
Thank you for having me on here. It means the world.
Our pleasure. Honestly, our pleasure. It's great to have you, and I'm just interested in talking to you about a bunch of different stuff, like your pajama show parties, how those are going, what those have meant for you,
Vance's Monday night acoustic pajama parties. Parentheses around the little C. They're a boon, and they're a boon for me because more than I was looking for a way to just pay some mortgage, I was looking for an opportunity to play for people that gave a damn. And that's more than anything else, I think that's what it was about for me, to develop an audience of people just listening, since that had been unceremoniously yanked from beneath me with Sister COVID. And it's turned into a thing. It's turned into a whole community of folks between but anywhere between like 130 to sometimes 300 people are tuned in to just hang out, and just they have community for a half hour before I do anything. And each week I come up with a theme, which requires me of putting in a little bit of time and learning a handful of new songs by other people or such, and try to stick somewhere near whatever the theme might be, just to keep it from me playing Vance tunes over and over again. And it's been a blast. It's been really fun. I would like to, break my own arm, patting myself on the back, and how.
Well, luckily you came here, and we're pretty happy to do that for you.
I'm just proud of all of us in the musical community that have found ways to stay fresh and to stay titillated, as it were. Just to stay sharp. It's just a great thing. We've all had to really depend on our own wiles to figure out a way to do music, to put it plainly. So yeah.
What I've found interesting. So we've spoken with you, we've spoken to Ellis, and we've spoken with Adam Ezra as far as the other artists specifically who have been navigating sort of the stream life, for lack of a better term. And
that's a new hashtag. You just made a hashtag.
I feel like one of the great opportunities that all three of you have actually done a really good independent job at doing is taking sort of the variety of playing a different city every night, and instead building up a community that longs to see you every week and wants to interact with you. So you're trading the troubadour act of city by city throughout the year, maybe hitting the same city 2 or 3 times, into an opportunity to see the same people every week.
Yeah, we've gone from troubadour act to Coliseum act.
Yes.
When you think about it, because that's what people did. They were, things happened at the Coliseum every week. They were feeding people to lions and everything else, but it was the one location you went to. Is that not a good
Jake, note to self: if Vance invites us to the pajama show, we should avoid it. I see lions in the future.
Shields, right?
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness!
A pesky fight to the death.
The lions? I don't know.
But yeah,
it's an interesting point, Ethan. Is that especially these 3 artists? You guys have all found ways to not just play a show, not just be like, Vance is playing on a Wednesday night and, I'm going to watch him online, but to make a thing, to make a brand. Like, you got your pajama show, Vance, Ellis is doing his thing, Adam's doing his thing. And it's not just hey, look, Vance is popping up. Like, you've made a brand almost, like indeed. Made a thing out of it.
Yeah. I'm at some point, probably before the end of August, I'm going to be on Adam's show for a quickie, and I've been on with Ellis, but his show's kind of dumb because he wears a tie. I mean,
it's the same goddamn tie, isn't it? The same tie every show. Does he own more than one matching tie? We need to talk about
Tucker Carlson of folk. He's and I'm just sick of
Ethan, make a goddamn T-shirt that says Ellis Paul.
No, I'm
Tucker
telling
Carlson
you.
of
I
folk.
just want
I'll
to
wear
tell him, look, bitch, you are in your bedroom. You don't need to wear no tie. I can see your pillow. I can see your pillow, bitch. Why you got a tie on? I'm not lying to you. I got a hat on. I'm gassy. I've got shoes over the doorknob. I don't need to wear no tie tonight. He's got a tie on.
I love that you asked. I love that you asked, because part of me was like, no, we don't have it. And even if I told you it was, you wouldn't. If I told you it was a black tie dress up, you were coming, and frankly, we probably wouldn't either.
He would pull out his tuxedo T-shirt.
You mean what I was going to wear for this? You talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, I was just trying to gauge the thing. I didn't know whether you guys wanted me naked or what. I mean, whatever brings your rating.
Tribal Mischief podcast after hours, right there.
I want to see you young white people succeed. So when we take this sucker over, we're gonna take care of you because you're good to me.
Well, and vice versa, man. You've for people that aren't familiar with our story, about 10 years ago at Falcon Ridge, Jake and I we'd played like local bars and stuff like that, and we did your song critique, and we went from people that had just been camping up the way that no one knew to people still, even though we played main stage twice now, people still are like, "You're those guys from Vance's thing." Like a decade later, that is the point of recognition that people have, and it was so fantastic, and that, frankly, that part of what you do is so amazing.
Well, first of all, let's just truncate this for a little bit, Ethan. First of all, people go with that which they are most initially familiar. Let's be clear. People are still asking me for stuff off of my first cassette, and that cassette blows. It's just like, it's like some of the stuff, and no offense to the people that recorded with me on it, which was like one other person. Some of the stuff that on my earlier stuff was like trash cans in an alley on a windy day. But, Kev Corbett, that's not the Kevin Corbett from...
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yes, sir.
No, that is not that Kevin Corbett, is it? From Mystery Science Theater 3000? Is that Kevin Corbett? Any comments?
No,
I don't think. No.
This is our boy Kevin.
Okay.
Kev.
This
from
is Kev.
Canadian.
All right.
Canadian.
Yeah. Anyway, the people you have done said people go with what they initially know, and that's hard to replace. And if they first saw you being eviscerated by me, that is what they're going to remember. That is basically what that's going to be about. So,
hey,
I apologize for that,
Vance. I don't just to jump in, Vance. I don't know if you're able to turn up your mic, but it's kind of quiet on our end. So
is it?
Yeah.
Just a hair, not too bad though.
I don't. This is the setting I always
That's all right.
use.
Don't worry about it.
Up.
Not a big
It's
deal.
all good.
What made me turn it
Oh,
up?
we're seeing a whole.
That's racist. You do what you need to do. That's just racist.
Everybody check the time. It is 8:18. It took the man less than 15 minutes to call us racist.
Well, it's my default thing. It makes money. Test 1, 2, 3, bitches. Test 1, 2, 3. No, this seems to be all I can get. This is all I've been giving you.
I think you're good. I think you're good.
I'll bring it closer.
I think, just the thing I want to talk about specifically with the critique, because that's become such a big part of how this community knows you in general. Like it's not to take anything away from your music or your comedy or your personality. And I still think of you, I don't know if Ann Sanders would agree, but you are, in my mind, and have been the official MC, because the first 4 Falcon Ridges I went to, I thought that was your job. And that was like, those were some of the most amazing experiences that I had, where I was just like, geez, he doesn't even need to sing and he can run this crowd. But, taking nothing away from that, you have built a whole generation of artists who, you are kind of the gold standard and the person that we go to when we have questions on what we're doing. And and you do so in a way where you can rightly say that you eviscerate us, but you do so lovingly. And that is such a line that you walk. That is,
I've never been stabbed with such care as I have by Vance.
It's a surgeon's. It is so well done, and
like a scalpel. Yes.
You've been.
Thank you very much for that. Here's the deal. I've been performing a long time, and I've gotten known for being the performer's performer, so to speak. And with that in mind, I'll never forget the first day I was invited. The first day there, I was landing. I was invited to the Rocky Mountain Folks Festival to teach performance, and I had like 4 pages of notes as to what I was going to do, and the plane was landing in Denver, and this was 1992, and I've taught there every year since, except for 1, well 2 now because of this year. And as the plane touched down, I took all those papers and I folded them up, put them away, and I said, I'm just going to look at what people do, and I'm going to integrate the songwriting part to the performance part, and see where the two of them do this successfully. Because I can give you a list of people thousands of miles long for different reasons that do that successfully, and my job is to know why and to see if I can get other people to do that also. And that is the key core to that performance, get it on the mic workshop. So many people, the people that come to me with caveats like, well, I just want to be a songwriter, and I don't want to be a top-notch performer at all. And my comeback to that is, well, you don't have to be a top-notch performer, but you need to perform well enough to get the song across. And even your best Nashville songwriter types can sit down with their instrument and in their graveliest voice or in their 3 chords or 4 chords, they can get the song across enough to make you feel like you're part of something. And that's all I'm getting people to do. That's all I think I'm getting people to do. I'm not, I'm not looking for people. I'm not looking for people to do that. I'm looking for people to take the 3 chords that they may know, that they've designed this song around, and cut the listener with a dull butter knife with it. That's my job, is to get you to do that job.
Yeah, and you, again, what I've always found impressive in the more than a dozen workshops that I've sat through or been at is you are very good at determining where people's level is and where they can find sort of the most lift. And you do so with honesty, but at the same point, encouragement that really is impressive to watch. I've always sort of thought of it as a performer. You've sort of got the 3. You've got songwriting, musicianship, and performing, and they're sort of all 3 of them are related, obviously, but they all sort of live in their own spaces. And sort of figuring out where in those circles A, you fit, and B, you have room for improvement. Yeah. I think is, to me, it's something that we all need to do, but so few of us sort of walk outside of where we started. We just sort of like head in that direction, right, and fail to jump.
There are great musical entities out there that dip out of each one of those buckets that you mentioned, and some dip more deeply than others, to be truthful, and that's what they require to do what they need to do. Now, I will say, I think the one bucket that you should always dip to the bottom and get all the bits of is the songwriting bucket, because that is the thing out of all of those buckets. That's the one that leaves a legacy. Ellis and I have talked about this from time to time, but we would like to write songs that are good enough that it doesn't matter how dulcet you are later in your life and career to sing. It doesn't matter how beautiful your voice is. The song will still stand up on its own. And that is, that's a success to me. That is a success to me, to have a great song. There are plenty of singers out there that are not, by any stretch of the imagination, great singers, but they're very effective singers. We just lost John Prine, who is who embodies that to the nth degree. John Prine was not a singer, and neither was Johnny Cash. I hate to say it, neither is Lucinda Williams. But they are very, very effective singers in getting their thing across.
My favorite songwriter of all time is Leonard Cohen. And I say that realizing that Cohen had about 4.5 notes to his name. Like he wasn't bouncing octaves. He wasn't even bouncing thirds. He was in a very small range. But those songs will live on forever, I think. And that, it's part of, my growing up in the scene was growing up with you and Alice. I'm not sure if you remember, I worked for Chris Williams for a short stint, which is actually when I really developed my love for you. Because prior to that, I had heard a couple of the studio records. So this would have been like 99. I had heard a couple of the studio records and I liked them. But I just sort of was like, oh, is another person in that sort of stratosphere. And Chris had a copy of your Live at Somerville record.
Yeah.
And it knocked my socks off to such a point that you just became one of my favorite people to follow from that point onward. Because I honestly believe that you walk that line of spectacular songwriter, but also transcended performer. Like you were, there's a reason you opened up for George Carlin.
Yeah, I guess there is. I mean, he saw something. I'll tell you a fun story about George. I was trying to stretch my songwriting wings, and I don't know how many people out there listening are fans. I see one. Carolyn Miller is one, and Ann Saunders, obviously, who's the backbone and core and goddess of Falcon Ridge. And Ann Brazel Spiegler is a good friend too, that know who I am. I do this song called "The King of Rome," which is a song written by David Sudbury, who is still quite extant, and it sounds like an old English a cappella thing. And I turn it into a shout, and I do it off mic, and it's a thing. And I guess I did it at the Rocky Mountain Folks Festival, and George Carlin's management heard me do it, and it was the linchpin. They called me to do that tour, and which ended up being 150 dates with George. And one night, I decided to do, rather than do the King of Rome, I decided to do Al Jarreau's "Could You Believe." And it's also a very broad, uplifting, I think, lovely tune that I do a cappella. And George took me aside later. He says, "Yeah, it was really, really, really lovely. I really like the King of Rome," which was, coming from your boss, was as good as saying, "That's the song you're doing every night."
Remember that thing you did? Don't do that thing anymore.
Or pack your bags, bro. So I never diverged again. So
I think I'd listen to George. That's it's pretty good.
Yeah, unless you want to be stranded in northern Michigan, listen to George.
Agreed.
Oh my God, too funny.
Well, as someone has heard you sing both of those songs, they're, I think it was Falcon Ridge I first heard. I never heard King of Rome before I heard you do it. And again, that stepping off mic technique, I know other people have probably done it, but at that point, you were the first person I'd ever seen do it at a festival. And again, just that breaking the wall between audience and performer was a bit of a genius move. And
well, I'm glad you think so. The singing that I learned it from was June Tabor's. I went through a stage in the 90s, actually late 80s, early 90s, where I was totally into the Silly Sisters, which is June Tabor and Matty Pryor. And Matty Pryor is ex-Steel Eye Span, and June Tabor just sort of came out of the blue on her own. And they're all affiliated with Nick Drake and Richard Thompson, and coming out of that era of neo-folk, acoustic, traditional kind of thing. And I was listening to her, and the other person that I heard do it was Garnet Rogers, who is a a folk tenpenny nail, as it were. He's just been around since the birth of God, and brilliant singer-songwriter, out of the shadow of his loved
Brother.
but deceased brother Stan. But Garnet is a force of his own, and those are the two people that I think when you do that kind of singing, you say you learn it from the singing of blah blah blah, that person. So yeah, so it's a strange thing. Maybe I would breaking my arm again, patting myself on the back to think that I am I'm listening to John Martin and June Tabor and so much of this a cappella English music and such, and also to Parliament Funkadelic and also to Charlie Parker. So it's a weird place for a black kid that grew up in Philadelphia to be, but that's just that's what I did. That's what I do. It's odd. It's odd. You might want to even ask the question sometimes. Is there an appropriation involved when I'm doing sort of this a cappella English thing? That I'm doing it, or is that somebody? I argued this with somebody the other day, and they felt like it was musically punching up. So that's not, as opposed to when a white person does black music, the term is blackfishing, and I was like, well, is that, just even mentioning it, just the race hackles rise on one's back. But you know what? I put these things in the context of a set of Vance music, and if you hear an a cappella English thing and you hear Thelonious Monk in the same set, hopefully you walk away going, I get it. Hey, I messed with my volume a little bit. Did that work? Is it a little hotter maybe? No?
I think you sound pretty good. We'll let people let us know if they feel otherwise. But no, I love.
Sorry, go ahead, Ethan.
I think to me, what I've always loved about folk music is it is, when you look at it at sort of that 30,000 foot view, it's a very broad thing, where blues and jazz and bluegrass and honestly, in my mind, hip hop absolutely deserves a space in that realm. Where gospel, there's so much music that international sort of ethnic music from all different kinds of places, and to some degree, folk has always sort of been a hodgepodge place. I think one of the things that Jake and I have been discussing in these conversations is, why, or what can we do to take an art form that is so influenced and so inspired by all those different places, and have the people practicing it and the community representing it look a little bit more diverse.
Well, that's coming from a very woke Ethan viewpoint. Most people, when they think of folk music, man, they're thinking the thing that they see at the farmer's market with the mandolin and the ukulele and the guitar, or they're thinking of James Taylor or Billie Eilish as a duo. That's what they're thinking. They're not thinking in terms of these broad strokes. You just brought the musicologist's viewpoint to it, which is
listen, I got to use my degree for something.
which serves you and serves all of us when it comes to your position in Folk Alliance and such. It's a great serving thing, but it's not language that John and Susie and Q Public would ever really wrap themselves around. Not many people are going to call rap folk music, and by definition it is, but it's not.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. I think there is so much. I always joke with people that when most people hear the word folk music, the first thing they think of is the asshole on the stairs playing I Gave My Love a Cherry in Animal House that Bluto blows up the guitar on. Like just this milquetoast, no, and I get it. Like I get that that's sort of a default. But at the same point, there's so much that comes from the merger of things. And one of our early guests, dear friends of ours who we just love, Gangster Grass. Those boys, half out of Philly, half out of New York, and like, I'm sure there are some people that would sit there and say, not folk music, but in my mind, absolutely folk music.
There are people that say they're not bluegrass and they're not hip hop, and to see two rappers get up on stage and go, hip hop is folk, y'all. Like, pay attention.
Yeah, well,
like Vance,
you can hope that. Let me play a piece of something quickly for you.
Please.
Hi, I thought about to drop by. So nice to see you. It's been so long since I've been holding you. I've been holding on to prayer, 'cause my dreams never seem to come true. 'Cause I'm never letting go, never letting go, never letting go. It's not that easy. I'm never letting go, never letting go, never letting go. I'm crazy about you, but I can't live without you. Here's a line I like the best. I keep that kitchen light on this past few nights. It don't go out, just keeps burning bright. Now your eyes, they dance away from mine. Is there somebody new again this time? 'Cause I'm never letting go, never letting go, never letting go. It's not that easy. And I'm only going to play that much of the song for a reason. And here's the reason why.
Go for it.
That's Stephen Bishop.
Mm-hmm.
The same guy that brought you down in Jamaica. They've got lots of pretty, the lyricism and everything. That's the asshole that was on the stairs in that movie.
I did not know that.
That's Stephen Bishop and his bit part in Animal House. And I mean, they couldn't have destroyed, and particularly when Animal House was out, Stephen Bishop was save it for a rainy day. He's a bitch, man. He's a badass.
I can't believe I didn't know that.
And yeah, that's Bish. And later on in that song, Never Letting Go, you hear, whoa, that's Chaka Khan. Singing in the background of that song. So
is that all?
I'm just saying.
Okay.
I love it.
I'm just saying. It's so you just never know how these worlds are going to cross and who's in them.
Yeah. Well, it's one of the, it's that funny thing that, my life goal, which I know I've shared with you at one point in time, and Jake's had to put up with it for far too many weekend tours all over the East Coast. But like, my goal is like, you can play the best of folk music in my mind for nearly anyone, and they'll be like, "This is fantastic. What is it?" You'll be like, "Folk music," and they'll be like, "I'm done." Like there's some weird visceral reaction, and there are moments that it feels like it's moving the other direction, like Mumford and Sons Explosion, when people are like, "Wow, this is really great. Like this is folk music. This really is kind of folk."
I'm telling you, right?
Yeah.
Bright Eyes, folk music.
Mm-hmm. Like that entire indie, like that decade of indie music that sort of came out around it, was
right.
So, whether they incorporate electronics or not, it was folk music. It was all about the songs.
Right. I know. And the thing was that was disconcerting to those of us who were really scrambling to make a living. You see these people, all of a sudden they're famous. And you go like, what the hell? I never saw their ass at Falcon Ridge. How'd they leapfrog over me? What? Where'd they come from? Who is Bright Eyes? Why his eyes so bright? My eyes are bright. I can do that. I mean, what the hell?
I mean, one of my favorite videos. One of my favorite videos on YouTube is John Mayer, one of the just most mind-boggling guitarists ever. But he did one of these rock cruises. You fill it with thousands of fans, and they get to hang out with John Mayer on the boat and all that stuff. But he got to bring artists on there. And one year he brought Martin Sexton.
Oh,
And
geez.
he was like, he brings Martin's playing a set and brings John out, but John introduces Martin Sexton and is like, this is, and I'm paraphrasing, but he says something along the lines of, this is one of the best songwriters you've never heard of. And it was just to watch this, like to watch the, John Mayer, who at the time was, on top of the world. And here he is bringing Martin Sexton, and all of us are looking at it going, we know that dude.
We've been knowing that for a long time.
We've known it for a long time. That's right.
John Mayer was like, Mama, I want to go to Berkeley.
Yeah.
Martin Sexton was already, Martin been doing that, man.
Yep.
Yeah, it's disconcerting from time to time. And then we have success right in your face in the form of Laurie McKenna, which is, Laurie's a goddess, but that,
and rightfully so.
I have a book here on my shelf, The Artist Way. Is it underneath here? Yeah, I got a book here that Laurie gave me. She came to a gig. She was like opening for me. I've had some wild people open for me that you wouldn't think. Patty Griffin, folk music, opened for me at the Old Vienna Coffee House. And I'm arguing at it, but I'm not absolutely sure. But I think maybe 15 years ago, Casey Musgraves opened for me in Texas. So it's like,
you just posted about that not too long ago.
Yeah, I posted it on Twitter. I was asking to see if anybody actually remembered that the way I remembered it. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure she opened for me and some suburban area sort of thing that I was doing. And this up-and-coming kid who was, in high school and playing. And she sounded nice. I mean, she wasn't slamming like she is now, but
right.
It was cool. It was nice. And I got up and did my thing and moved on, and then all of a sudden that nickname, Casey Musgraves, that bitch open for me. So what do you?
That name sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Well, heck, even Ethan and I in our undistinguished musical careers. Remember, Ethan, we played that show in Waltham where Seth Gleer opened for us, and we're like, has anyone told Seth that he probably shouldn't be opening for us? It should probably be the other.
You never know. You never know. Because it happens. The gracious headline performer recognizes that in a person that's in front of them and embraces them. Even if they get blown off the stage that evening, you should be embracing that new individual, even if they're a tad arrogant or boisterous or whatever it was. You shouldn't. We're sorry,
Vance. We didn't mean to be arrogant. That was probably
no. I'm just saying that somebody here's something you should know. Sometimes people will look at a really good opener act who's ruling the stage as arrogant. And they just do. I won't mention any names, but it's. I got fired from a tour because as this person went up on stage, they could see the line of people buying the cassette off the side of the stage. And the next day I was told to go home. And when I asked why, it came down the pike. Well, we like Vance, but he's very primary colors, and we're looking for someone a bit more pastel. What do you do with that? So, as an opening act, you come out, you rule the stage, you are a gale to be withstood. You don't take an encore if you can help it. Don't take the encore. Bow, get off the stage, and go sell your damn CDs. And hopefully the headline act has enough guts and wherewithal and grace to recognize what you're doing is kind of smoking and maybe take you to do something later because they think something of you, Sean Colvin.
So Vance, you were not setting any of that up for this story, but I've booked a venue west of Boston called the Steeple Coffee House before all this COVID insanity and a whole bunch of uproar. But I booked you there, and I booked this opening act out of the UK called the Black Feathers.
Oh my God!
And I couldn't make it that night, but I heard stories from multiple people afterwards that Vance, I believe, gave some of your time to the Black Feathers because you love them so much.
Hell yeah, they were kicking my ass. They were blowing me off the stage. No, I can hold my own. Once I got up there, I put on a good show. It was,
Of course
you're
did.
going to get good Vance show. Even if I rest on one or two laurels, that's fine. You know, I've earned it. I'm older than a bag of dirt. But those kids were so good. How do you not? It's just, you know.
I mean, the funny thing with Jake and I is we were enjoying. I don't think either of us expected to blow up as artists. Like we had a run, and we got to we got to play main stage at Philly. We got to play at
We played a side stage in Philly.
Side stage Philly and main stage at Falcon Ridge.
Yes.
And a bunch of other spaces that we never thought we were gonna really get a chance to play, and we had an absolute ball doing it. But that being said, like the moments that just really made it for us were those moments where we got to meet other artists that really inspired us and tickled our feathers. And that's why the lounge stage sort of became sort of the home base for us. That's New Year's in so many ways. It's a chance for us to put people like you on stage with a bunch of other fun people and just sort of see the way it all works out.
Because we like to showcase artists that people haven't heard before. So we found this Vance guy and decided we would put him.
Yeah, and we should be calling them of course, the feathers of color. So I'm just saying, I'm just trying to be corrective in here, so you guys don't, get in trouble.
Well, I mean, I think
Try to be good, and sometimes we'll say people of color, and our, our friend will say, "I'm black, okay, call me black," and sometimes I'll say black. We try to be good white people, but
you have to be ready.
The best we can do.
White people need to be ready to not win.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a matter of you winning or losing. Be ready to be corrected. Be ready to be wrong. Be ready for all that stuff. It does not label you as a part of the problem or this or that or anything else. Just be ready for everything from a change in nomenclature to a possible change in your thought. I think that is key to getting along and getting it on. None of us are getting all of this right.
Yep.
None of us are getting all of this right.
Nope.
Well, it's one of those things, and as a white guy, realizing with the light right now, I'm borderline translucent.
Let me just say, let me just say, you I mean, like that. Like, you a white guy, man. I'm
a white dude.
Ethan.
Yes, sir.
You white.
I am. I'm trying to sort of take what you said to heart, and I've been, a lot of the conversations we've been having have started with, we recognize that I'm racist. I've had racist moments, not like out and out Jewish people, black people, or anything are bad, but moments where some backward stereotype in my head caused me to think something, and to be able to recognize that and immediately, hopefully, course correct and learn something from. I mean, shouldn't that be the goal for everybody?
You would think, but that's why the book is called White Fragility, because everyone's getting their feelings hurt, thinking that every time I go to do something, I get chastised and corrected. Well, people.
So you keep trying.
Yeah, that's just keep trying. That's it. Now, to the black people that are listening to this, both of them, I would like to say, let me tell you a little story. I was on a cruise, and it was the Joko cruise, the Jonathan Colton's cruise, and I was on a line of people that we were signing, and it was a black author next to me who had just given a pair of people an autograph and told them the difference between two types of different burial instances when it of two different types of Indian people, and she was kind of laying out one type of burial and another type of burial, and then another bunch of people came by and said something, and she leaned over to me and said, God, I get so tired of telling black people, instructing black people about, what it means for our blackness. And I stopped for a second and I said, I'm thinking maybe, now I got re-instructed on this, that it's coming from a woman is a different thing, because women are always in a position of having to instruct people and take care of people like Butterfly McQueen or Mammy or somebody or other. And I get it. But black person to black person, as a 60-plus-year-old black person, I had to say, I said, look, you know what? It's tiresome to me too, but you know what? I am going to continue to correct, instruct, and do the best I can to make an ally, because that's what I need to do. That is what I'm on the planet to do. Because, when I see... When I hear the whole idea of white people need to fix this thing for themselves, they need to fix this. This is what brought us here. White people doing this all by themselves without asking black people anything. Please stop fixing shit. White people out there, stop doing this shit on your own. Call your black friend. Risk them saying, you know what? I'm tired of you being in my face, asking me about black stuff. Risk that.
But you said X. Wait.
Of course I did. Risk that. Risk that. Get in their face. Ask them how they're doing, how you're doing, and continue to learn. Because I, for one, am not going to stop teaching, because you have me, and that's all you got, as far as I'm concerned. Tonight, anyway.
You are absolutely the best. You are absolutely the best.
I gotta see what's on the back of this. Am I getting? Yeah, I'm getting full volume here. No, people complain about my volume. Here's my room. I know that light is bright. You don't want that in there, do you? I'm gonna leave that on there for a second.
That's as white as us.
That's
Vance.
as white as you. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Okay, I'll come back to my shit.
If we had 3 of me and Ethan on here, it'd be just me, Ethan, and that light in your room.
That's it. That sounds like a first line to a really weird song. How many people are listening to this anyway? Because
about 20 currently.
Oh, that's cool. That's great.
Awesome. We get sort of about, so we've discovered, so one of the things that we're trying to figure out right now, and Vance, I think I talked to you about this, was the entire notion of getting the folk community as a whole into different forms of media, specifically things like Twitch, YouTube, and that kind of thing.
You never said nothing about that to me, but go ahead.
Okay. Well, in my head, I totally had that conversation.
Just making shit up. I don't even know what he's talking about. I discussed with Vance Gilbert. You didn't discuss shit with me. You asked me to come on this show. You begged me to do that damn stage of yours.
I did.
And then now you think we're best friends. You know what? Stop talking. Jake, talk to me. No, I'm just teasing you, Ethan. I'm teasing you because you know why I'm teasing
now he's not white anymore. He's red.
You know why I'm teasing you, Ethan?
Because I deserve it.
Because you white.
The funny, like, I welcome being teased on that, because I like. I learned a lot of things from my father. But one of the sort of cornerstones of my father's personality was, if I make you embarrassed, that's your fault. That's your problem. Being embarrassed is something you have to deal with. And he notoriously would make me as uncomfortable as possible to teach me lessons, which sounds cruel out of context, but usually there was quite a bit of humor behind it. But it was, for me, actually a very good learning technique. Like those moments where I realized that I felt awkward gave me moments to think, why did I feel awkward? And in particular, as we have conversations like being a white person in a world where we really shouldn't be necessarily running everything that we do, I think that moment of awkward has served me well in this life. And I do my best to embrace it. Now I'll turn 5 shades of red in the process, but it's something that I think, I'm not Catholic. I went to a Catholic school, which you called me on many conversations ago, because I'm a good Catholic student boy, and I sir and ma'am everybody. Like that is my default, period. And we're in the middle of a phone conversation, and I think I sirred you, and you snapped. You snapped at me, and to this day, I don't know whether you were serious or not, and it doesn't matter, because at the time,
I don't know whether you were serious either, calling me sir. I was like, what? Like, is he selling me insurance? What?
Well, it's that you have that language of your childhood embedded in you, and for me, that's just like, I'm not even Catholic.
You need to unembed some shit, because that's just stupid calling me sir. Embedded in your childhood. I don't know who got in bed with you in your childhood, but that don't make no damn sense at all.
I did say Catholic school, didn't I?
And here's the other thing about teaching. I will try to teach in such a way where I'm not soft pedaling, but I would like a certain amount of digestibility. I don't want to be the one always cracking the baton of race over somebody's head because they got something not quite right. That just doesn't seem... I don't know. At one point I was doing some conservative black reading. I know that sounds like an oxymoron, but I was reading something by Shelby Steele, who is a noted black conservative author. But he said something. He was, he and Thomas Sowell but if you go back as far as Booker T. Washington, they kind of toe a certain line, and there's a certain Kool-Aid that black conservatives drink, and I think a lot of it comes from hey, not so fast, But he did say something that that really that resonated with me, is that something that, and it's a great equalizer. It makes you realize that black people are people too. They can be just as aggravated and as fired up about what they feel and take advantage of a situation. But is a thing called shaming, where an eloquent black person will be on the microphone, as it were, and they're shaming a whole group of white people. And the white people are listening, and they're being attentive, and they're hoping to learn something, but they're just getting mad. And it's like, you know what? I do believe, and this becomes self-centered again, I do believe that I'm somebody who can do that kind of teaching and not hurt you. Mm-hmm. That is my goal, is to not hurt you, because you know what? You don't want to hurt an ally. You don't, at any point in time. Other geniuses that are like this, I will say, honestly, they're comedians, and they are or would be Richard Pryor, Chris Rock, mm-hmm. Genius at this, and the best of that, which really, I think, if George Carlin and Richard Pryor had a baby, that's Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle will set up a joke in the 4-minute mark of the show and put the cap on it at the 12-minute mark. You realize, oh my God! When I'm working with Paul Reiser, we call that a reach back. He reached back that far to mm-hmm. put the cap on the joke, and the joke will sometimes be around race, and he will poke fun at people. He'll go off script and poke fun at white people that have come to the show with a black person, and mm-hmm. all the stuff that goes with that. But by the time that show is over, or by the time the show is halfway through, That's a family.
Yep.
That's all I'm looking to do.
Yeah.
Well, and that's really
all
the
I'm
impact
looking
that you have on folks. I mean, I'm paraphrasing your quote here, but you refer to yourself as as the chocolate chip in the cookie. I've heard you use that before at Falcon
the only
Ridge.
chip. The only chip.
The only
in the
chip.
cookie.
Sorry.
And the distinction is different. I'm the chocolate chip in the cookie is just saying, look at me. And if I say I'm the only chip in the cookie, that's actually saying, look at you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a group, and I happen to be in it, which is in an odd way more inclusive.
Well, one of the
That does make you the best part of the cookie too.
You can't go nowhere without the dough, man. People will eat chips out of the bowl, we were the first ones to make it to ice cream. But dough has made its way to ice cream too now, Jake. There is cookie dough ice cream. So everybody's in ice cream now.
Well, I think you have a little.
All ice cream matters. I don't even know what I'm saying.
You heard it here first.
I'm exhausted. I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know what I'm saying.
I am absolutely taking the clip of that and using that. Sort of two things that you went through that brought up recent conversations. Good friend of the show, good friend of folk music in general, Ron Olesko, who I believe is actually watching tonight.
Oh.
Ron recently posted one of the quotes surrounding AOC's most recent address in Congress, and Ron, correct me if I go off on this one, but the gist of his post was, when AOC showed up in Congress, I thought, she's a little too young, she's got to figure this, she's running too far, and I've now reached a point where I realized this is exactly what we need. We needed someone that was going to challenge us all and challenge the way things are. And I think, and I'm not saying this to call Ron out at all, because I think that's human nature. I think human nature is when change comes knocking, you want to slow it down to be digestible for your particular state of comfort. Right. But that's not the way change works.
That's true. That's true. There's so much give and take on throughout this equation that there's got to be hard people. The people out there that are hard about it. I'll be excoriated for this, but there needs to be the occasional conservative voice. Conservative voices need to be part of this conversation, because it's not having a conservative voice out there that got us where we are. People don't feel like they're heard.
Right.
And I'll be honest with you. I think our previous president was a better listener. I think he got painted as someone that wasn't listening, but I think he was a pretty decent listener. But people need to be heard. People need to feel like they're part of something. And I love Ron. Ron corrects me up. Ron will post shit on Facebook. He'll be like, I just don't understand why Ron will post stuff that just opens up to people like going after him. Why is it that boobs are only in twos? And people are like, Ron, he will ask wonderful shit. He will just ask stuff. And so, well, I didn't mean that in a sexist way. I was just, and the next thing you know, you realize that he was asking the question that everybody else wanted to ask, but everybody was too cool or too woke to ask. And Ron is asking it from the viewpoint, I'm the straw that stirs the drink. You are also the dude that at the bottom of the drink goes when the drink is empty, and he's unashamed of it. He's unashamed. I have watched him. I've gone to bat for Ron in some places. Hey, y'all need to leave Ron alone. Ron didn't know that it wasn't just one boob. He didn't know that it was two. So that's Ron. We salute you, Ron, for opening up your door to the potential stupidity of others. Yeah, Ron.
My glass is empty, but I'll raise it and then pour some more. I think that
you
goes
just
to what
sounded
Ethan was.
like most white people right there. Your glass is empty, but you're gonna raise it anyway. That's the kind of shit that gets you in trouble, Jake. Yeah,
To be fair,
you with your empty ass glass.
Because I'm agreeing. How dare I?
That's right. You
With a
agreeing
good-
from. That's racist, right, Jake? Tell him, Ethan. Tell him how racist that shit is.
I don't know that I could say anything. The drink I raised was a peach
my-
margarita.
Oh, no wonder Jake is making sense now. He's full of Likker.
I'm drinking straight whiskey. Give me a break. No, but I think that that's what Ethan was talking about. Where if you're embarrassed, it says something about you. Like if you're jumping down somebody's throat, like so much of this is. So many of these problems just come from our own perspective, and we're pointing, out at what's wrong with everybody else instead of, going, wait, slow down, and what's wrong with me?
Yeah. I mean, one of the things I've seen Ron do in his posts from time to time, he says, "Yeah, no, I don't think you're right. I didn't quite get this, or whatever the thing might be." And I was like, "Oh my God, how often do you see that from a clearly brilliant man?" I've worked with Ron; he's brilliant. But how often do you see that? There's a whole lot of people out there that could benefit from saying, "I didn't get this right on the first pass."
Yeah.
Masks are now patriotic.
I have so much to say about that that I don't even want to because it makes me so goddamn mad.
Using it as an example, something where somebody out there could say, "I didn't get that right."
And I have on the show said a couple things that I wasn't comfortable with, but this is probably just going to be another one of those. I do occasionally, I get frustrated when, and I'll just be straightforward, when Trump, who I think very lowly of, actually does something good.
Yeah, that's a sad day, isn't it?
It bothers me that in those moments, I feel like there should be recognition. There should be some positive, like, yeah, that's what someone that like you should be doing. You did it, pat on the head, whatever you want to call it. But it's the everything that anyone that doesn't agree with me fundamentally does is bad. I think that's what's led to, or part of what's led. I mean, there's a whole lot of just awful on top of it that led to it. But
here's the deal, though, Ethan. It's the preconception that you sow that makes it so that you question everything. You question everything, even the best of things that might happen. There are probably pictures of this guy listening to somebody or shaking somebody's hand and meeting and everything else, and nobody gives a shit because they're far outweighed by what you see as arrogance. And it's in a human to human way, it's sad. It's a very sad state of affairs because it has turned us, what it has done blanketedly is turned us all into shit cynics. We're all shit cynics at this point, and it's disheartening.
Well, we spend so much time assuming why people do things, assuming that this thing's bad, assuming that they did this for this reason. They voted for this thing because they hated this part of it or because they wanted this part of it. And we find reasons not to step outside of what we already believe.
That's right. That's exactly right. All I got to say to all of that is George Bush giving Michelle Obama a cough drop and a wink.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, what
that was such a wonderful human moment.
It's just freaking class. It's class. So you do your reading about this guy. You can disagree with everything he did, but guess what? He was well read. He read a book a week. This guy he may not have seemed bright to you, but he wasn't a moron. Huh?
He wasn't a moron.
No, he was not a moron. Neither was Ronald Reagan.
No.
Neither was Ronald Reagan. Wrote his own briefs, man. He wrote his own. He was a governor. You don't do that. What did he do? 2 terms? One, at least. Maybe 2. He was he was no mental midget. Let's be
Yeah,
clear.
no question.
To many people, he was the enemy, but he's to be freaking respected, and
Agreed.
that's hard to find now, and it's turning us all into cynics, which makes it hard for all of us to listen when a woman speaks up about something, or when a black person speaks up about something.
Yeah.
That you suddenly that can't. I have learned to shut down everything, so none of this could possibly be good.
Yeah.
What the hell?
You gave one of my favorite speeches ever as the keynote to NERFA 3 years ago. 2 years ago? 3 years ago?
It's going on 3. Wow,
Yeah.
2017. Because the next day I left for Australia.
Yeah.
I'm
I
such
remember.
an international Negro. That's what I'm saying up in here.
I love watching your
By the way,
Facebook
As the title of
documentation.
my next album is International Negro. Was that offensive? I'm sorry.
It's one of those things where Jake and I have occasionally told the story of how you introduced us to that song critique years ago. And every time we tell the story,
it makes Ethan uncomfortable telling.
It's one of those things that I find so fundamentally funny. I'm going to push through my discomfort because I've got my father in my head saying, it's about you. It's not about this. But
Do you remember what you called us, Vance?
I need to be ready to apologize depending on what you say. I can't remember. Go ahead.
It's all good.
I need to be ready. I need to be ready to say, okay.
Go ahead.
Our first time in front of a crowd above 20 people.
Yep.
You got 200 or 300 people there, and we're the four of us who get backstage ready to run. You're like, and you say, introducing Pesky J Negros, and all four of us take 2 steps.
Pesky Jewish Negroes.
You're right. Sorry, you covered all of our bases.
You got it all.
I got everybody. Then I will say, I'm not apologizing for that. I'm actually very proud of that. Pesky Jewish Negroes. It's still a better name than what you had. Pesky J Nixon. Nobody cares about that.
No.
What happened to that whole strata of you people coming? Pesky J Nixon. We're about 9. What is wrong with you people? Some dumbass names.
Do we have play in the lounge stage with you Thursday night?
Please tell me that he's in the round. No, I don't think he is.
Oh, we're annoying Jay Nixon. It's like, shut up. Shut up. Call yourself something. Ethan and Jake and these other bitches. That's the name.
Well, there's Adam Ezra's version of the world. The Adam Ezra's version of the world, where it's just like Adam Ezra group.
Adam just says, let's see. I need a name. I'm singing. I have black hair, and I look like a shoeless Burt Reynolds. Adam Ezra. That's what we're calling this.
I'm texting Adam right now.
Go ahead.
To a shoeless Burt Reynolds.
Oh.
He does look like a shoeless Burt Reynolds, doesn't he? Just like,
yeah, he's got that. He's got that vibe. He's got that vibe. We're gonna get to. We'd love to hear you play some music, but just
whatever. I don't have
wrap
to
it.
Really, these people need to pay me some money if they're gonna hear my music.
Well, hopefully they will.
Who's this Stuberg? We have to tell Adam this. Shut up.
Oh,
Stuberg.
well, so I don't know who Stuberg is, but I have no idea. But a good number. Adam was the first person we had on. We had Karina from his band on as well. So a lot of our regulars sort of came from Adam's. So you're speaking to his people right now.
Stuart's actually a photographer. We met him at Daryl's house. He was shooting at Daryl's house.
Oh, great.
You took some wonderful pictures of us.
Were you playing at Daryl's house?
Yeah,
we opened for Adam at Daryl's house.
Oh, so nice. That's great.
That was one of the more fun shows we've played. And I'm sure you've got a million stories, but it was one of those stories where like the show went really well. We were super jazzed. We got in the car and we started driving, and we knew we had like a 3.5 hour ride back. And about a half hour into it, just wrath of God fell, like lightning, hail, snow, and rain all at the same time.
Rain a minute.
We were like, Jake and I just like white knuckling the entire way, being like, well, if we're going out, at least it was a good night,
Wow.
We're making our peace with this.
And
Wow.
and Adam had just released his new album Hurricane Wind, so we are in the middle of this monsoon listening to Hurricane Wind on the way back. It was great.
Gosh.
We might die.
How many
But-
people were in your group at that point?
This was the
When
band.
you,
For in Pesquite?
we've generally been we've been 4 for a long time.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we typically when we're touring, it's a trio just because economics and fitting in. For a good portion of our career, our tour van was a Prius, so
Wow, that
the
is
trio worked best for that.
that is
You
a
would not-
that is a no eating beans trip there. That's for sure.
Oh.
Wow.
Well, it's a good way to limit airflow
my
to a certain degree.
gosh, this is supposed to be electric car. Ain't there supposed to be no gas in this car? What the hell?
We are not stopping at Chili's on the way.
Oh my god. Either
No.
that or we already have. We didn't.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was the only way I knew how to get us from Boston to Gettysburg on one 10-gallon,
Oh,
10-gallon tank of gas.
4 people in a Prius and instruments yet.
Mm-hmm.
I had instruments.
That's why we don't have an upright bass player.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
We became the kings and queens of Tetris in the back of that Prius.
Mhm.
Fitted an accordion and guitars and fiddle and all that stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Do we want Vance to
Well,
play some music?
We would
What?
love Vance to play some music.
Sure.
I mean,
if
we'll
you'd
pay
like.
you. Ethan, you can, I don't know, we'll send him something. I'll send him money. I don't care.
Well, I don't need any money.
Are you volunteering me to pay? Like that was pretty good, Jay. We'll pay him money, Ethan. But what?
That was Ethan always sets up the way to pay people. That was not Ethan pay the money.
Fair enough. It's almost as if I had planned for this. If you would like to Venmo us money, you can, and we will pass that straight along to Vance.
Yeah,
Straight on
please
the man.
support these. Please support these boys, ladies and gentlemen. Please support these boys so they stop calling me. Really, it'd be great if you could support Tribal Mischief. You can Venmo them on the side of the thing here, right there.
Support them so they'll at least go out and get a tan.
If you really, really want to support us, the best way to do it, as much as we like money's great, but if you can follow us, and if you're wondering where the follow button is, it's right where the arrow in front of Vance is pointing.
Look at that.
You can click on that.
This button right here. Let
Mhm.
me see if I can grab
Yeah.
this button. That button.
That one right there.
That one right here.
And if you're feeling particularly inspired, you can subscribe. If you're an Amazon Prime member, you can subscribe for free, which is even better. We'd just appreciate it and keep us.
You can subscribe if you're an Amazon secondary member, even. Yeah.
Yeah. The primary is just overrated. We'll
That's
take anything.
That's
But
it.
So with all of my hawking done, Vance, why don't you take it away?
I'm gonna pull this out, and I'll sing for you. You can live on pie and whiskey, but you surely won't live too long. One is as sweet as your very first kiss, the other gonna go down strong. Neither one will sustain you when the other make your belly lame and go all wrong. You can live on pie and whiskey, but you surely won't live too long. You can sing yourself a lullaby like your mama sang to you. Hers was just like a ringing a bell, yours is like a worn out shoe. She had a voice just like honey, yours just like leather nails and glue. You can sing yourself a lullaby like your mama sang to you. come and gone. Hijack the pie and the whiskey, kidnap your mama's soul. Oh, but worn-out shoes are made for walking. You better get walking, 'cause you ain't gonna be here long. You can cry, cry, cry like no tomorrow. You can sing yourself a lullaby. You can live on pie and whiskey, but you surely won't live too long. Yeah. Thank you so much. Hey, there you go. There you go. Put this back in there. Thank you so much. Thanks. Oh, did you want more? Is that you guys? What did you want me to do? You want me to play a bunch of tunes, or what did you want me to do?
I figured you'd play 2 or 3, but it's up to you, man. We're not going to force you to
I'm
anything.
looking on the phone. You never said. Just a reminder. Okay, I'm here.
Here for
Let
us.
me see. Did you want more songs? Because I'll play for the rest of the evening. You started by, okay, it's fun. I'm excited to see your lounge stage. Okay, you're begging me again. All right, I'm going to do that. Okay. Oh, yeah, okay, I'll do another song or two. Okay. Okay. Sure, I'll do that. Sure, why not? When evening falls on Brunswick County, I can hear Atlantic water lap around the eastern shore, as far in as Varnum town. Cannonballs from blockade runners sit silent in the old town ruins. Confederate and Union ships lie mute in their watery drown. It's quiet on the ocean highway, Sandy Creek to Calabash. I come in from Pender County, all because you asked to hold my hand. When evening falls on Brunswick County, I can hear your laughter as it echoes round the eastern shore, as far in as Varnum town. It's quiet on the ocean highway, Sandy Creek to Calabash. I come in from Pender County, all because you asked to hold my hand. When evening falls on Brunswick County, I can hear your laughter as it echoes round the eastern shore, as far in as Varnum town. It's a title cut off my most recent album, and that's not a commercial really. I just haven't played it in a few days, and I'm just so happy to be able to play it. It's me trying to me trying to be an acoustic R&B guy. I wish I was a good, good man, standing with your hand in mine, doing everything just right. How happy we would be. Instead you're looking at a no good fool, giving him the sad, sad eye, doing what your good book tells you when you see a man in need. I don't want your charity, you ain't gotta toe that line. If I had a different history, tell me, would it make you mine? If I was a good, 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 good man. If I was a good, 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 good man. If I was a good, 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 good man. Pity on us simple-minded. Make a lot of bad mistakes. We never seem to roll 11. We never seem to catch a break. And I've done things there's no excuse for. Ain't no way to turn back time. I'm busy trying to fix tomorrow, leaving yesterday behind. Here you come confusing love and forgiveness, making me some special case. If you didn't have to save me, would you love me anyway? If I was a good, 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 good man. If I was a good, 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 good man. If I was a good, 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 good man. If I was a broken angel, if I stood at heaven's gate, if I was in all this wreckage, tell me, would it be too late? If I was a good, 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 good man. If I was a good, 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 good man. If I was a good, 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 good man. If I was a good, 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 good man. If I was a good, 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 good man. If I was a good, 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 good man. Thank you so much. Thanks. Hold on a minute. I can't hear nothing. Here we are.
Oh, it's all good. We were muted. Oh, Vance, I love listening to you, man.
Thank you.
That
it's
just,
a good life
man,
right now, man.
Just
What?
reminds me of sitting out on the hill at Falcon Ridge. You always seem to have the night slots, which is amazing because we'll just be sitting out on the hill, Falcon Ridge Folk Festival, and just hearing that just coming across the hill.
Sitting on somebody's hill for, this is a funny stage, man. I'll be 62 in October. I've never written, played, or sung better than right now. It takes as long as it takes, and anybody out there that's playing, thank you, Stu. Somebody here. Anybody that's playing and singing, it's never too late to start. And I'm just very, I sound like an old black blues player. I just feel so blessed. And but it's true, man. I just feel like, what a great stage for me to be at right now. I'm just,
and along those lines, I think there's, the most magic thing in life to me is getting to a point where you can be satisfied with where you are, and the fact that you're feeling like you're there, like that's I couldn't wish for more. Well, that's not true. I wish for the world for you, because I think the world needs to understand the music and what you bring to the table, because you are
thank you
you are a treasure, sir. You're a treasure.
I'm glad, the conversation previously just sort of set me up a little bit, because Pie and Whiskey is my sort of country R&B romp, and then Brunswick County. It sounds like an old Celtic thing, but it's mine, and it was written. There's a long story behind that. I'll tell people at some point or another in life, but it was written, produced, mastered, and shipped off to be on a master of someone's in 12 hours, and then Good Man is Aaron Neville and Jason Isbell got locked in a room together and had to come up with something. That's what I think it is. So
it's just a great song.
Yeah,
it's the first time I've heard that one.
It's a big ass song. I'm really thrilled with that.
Well,
song.
If Jason Isbell's listening and is looking for somebody to open for him, Vance.
Who's that?
I said if Jason Isbell's listening and needs somebody to open for him, Vance Gilbert is the way to go.
Jake, it's funny. You guys got your names switched here.
Yeah, they're backwards.
No, that's definitely not right. I am definitely not either. But there was a funny thing that happened. I in the midst of the early peak of the Black Lives Matter thing, I put a Twitter out saying people like Jason Isbell, Lucinda Williams, and named a couple others in the alt rock scene, that alt country scene. You guys want to put your money where your mouth is, because Jason Isbell and Casey, what's her name?
Musgraves.
Casey Musgraves they were talking about how many fans they think they may have lost by saying Black Lives Matter.
That was such a great conversation. It was hilarious.
It was really fun. Did you see that? And Jason said, I think I've gained about 10,000 more. And so I posted something that said, if you guys want to put your money where your mouth is, have some black acoustic opening acts when you go out on the road. Mm-hmm. And crickets,
Crickets, yeah.
But I said, people started writing them, which I thought was very cute and very funny. There was, I was hoping that something viral would happen, but Jason knows who I am. The other part of this story is somebody, a student of mine, was such a Jason Isbell fan that he went to the Ryman Auditorium waiting for Jason to come out after sound check, like 2 p.m. He just hung out at the door. And he got to the door, and they started talking about recovery and all kinds of other stuff that you would talk about with Jason. And Jason said, well, who are you listening to? He says, well, I'm not only listening to, but I'm doing some studying with Vance Gilbert. And Jason goes, Unfamiliar Moon? And I was like, okay. What? That's all I needed to hear. I was like, okay, somebody find me a dull butter knife to slit my wrists with, because I can die now. That's the first thing came out of his mouth. He said, Unfamiliar Moon.
That's my favorite story ever now.
Oh, man. That's
Courtney and I flew down to Nashville to see him at the Ryman, and we didn't get to hang out with him or chat with him about you. I mean, we would have if we'd been given.
I know. So would I. But he's a beast. It's like a black man is trapped in his body and trying to climb out of his mouth all at once, with Johnny Cash and Richard Thompson and Joni Mitchell all trying to get out of his mouth at the same time. He's amazing. And
you talk about artists that are aware. I mean, he is sort of aware of who they are and their privilege and all that. He wrote a song. He lives in Nashville. He's known as a country artist, and he wrote a song called "White Man's World."
White Man's World is just the title of the album, Nashville Sound, was
Nashville Sound. The whole thing. I'm a white man living in a white man's world. Oh.
Driving
white man living in a white man's town, better take a shot of cocaine and burn it down. Like, oh,
And driving past fields of cotton. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And then to bring his daughter into it.
he brings. Oh, Jesus.
It's just like he just, you know.
Yeah.
I also love that he's sort of got the balls, even though he's clearly got that country base, that he's like, no, I'm folk. Like he will absolutely out and out be like, no, that's what I am.
Yep.
I mean, you don't have to like it, but it's true.
If I got to, I don't care what I was doing. If I would drop it and go out with them for 20-minute sets in front for Zed money, man, because he's walking the walk and talking the talk musically.
Yeah.
And then I saw him on Austin City Limits, and like wasn't till halfway through his, like, what they do, a 40-minute set there, 20 minutes into the set, he stepped out with a Strat and did that. He did that thing. I was like, I just want to be a white boy with a really big head and an ex-coke habit. I'm happy to be that, just to be him for a couple minutes. Because he does have kind of a big head. I don't mind saying that.
Well, and my favorite, I'll admit, I'm on a fan group of his on Facebook, and back when he was with the Drive-By Truckers and he was drinking himself to death, there are old photos of him that folks refer to as Clyde Isbell, his stupid brother. And then you look at him now, like he's cleaned himself up. Anybody remember when Amanda Shires was playing Club Passim?
Right.
Anybody?
What are you gonna do, man?
Unbelievable power couple. Unbelievable music.
Yeah. I just, you know, I am such a fan, and I mean, he just sitting cross-legged on a stool like nobody sits anymore.
Like nobody sits. Oh, Jesus.
What?
Oh,
That's the line. That's the line in that song.
That
I know, you shake your head. That's what you do, Jay.
What's incredible about him is somebody's like, well, tell me what songs to listen to. And I was like, well, do you want country rock, southern rock? Because I'll tell you a song to sing there. If you want a song that's going to break your heart, then go listen to Elephant or We Were Vampires. But if you want just straight up rock and roll, then go listen to this song. Like somebody he's not a country artist or a folk artist or anything like that. He's just a goddamn artist.
No, he's just exactly. I brought out on my little speaker thing for my partner Deborah, and I put on. She was in no mood to listen to anything. She's getting ready for work, about to go online, do her thing, and everything else. And I brought out and played "If We Were Vampires," and she just lost her legs. She just her legs went out.
Yep.
She just had to sit down, and she was a mess. I was just like, that's the legacy I want to leave with. I want to sing well. I want the lyrics to sit right. Ask me that question. What do you write first, the music or the lyrics? Lyrics.
Well,
because I want to tell the story. There's a little bit of race involved there because people think of except for Smokey Robinson and a handful of others, people think of a black R&B singer as an adapter of something and just taking the song and molding it and doing a vocal thing to it. No, man, I want to make sure you know that I'm capable of a story, and then I can be your black singer. But I want to tell this. I want to tell a smoking kick-ass story about cannonballs from blockade runners since silent in the old town ruins. So you have to look that up to find out what that's about. I write hard. I write deep and hard, and I want the world to know that.
You cry about a planet.
Right? This is...
You make people cry about Pluto, for God's sake.
I want to use language. I want to be... And is it my own personal lack of self-confidence that I have to wave my arm around and say, look, I'm black, but I'm eloquent? Maybe a little bit. Why am I there? Because I have to be there. I have to let you know that I can write. And please don't write Neil deGrasse Tyson and tell him to listen to Goodbye Pluto. He has sent so far 3 messages down to me. Somebody tell Vance, thank you very much. The song is beautiful. Like 3 different times. So
We get it, Vance.
Yeah, I get it. That's right.
So I know it's probably not the song that's paying your mortgage, but High Rise is, in my mind, one of the more eloquent songs
That's
ever
nice
written.
to hear. That High Rise is my folk Moonlight in Vermont. The song Moonlight in Vermont, because nothing rhymes. That was my goal with High Rise, is to write a song that had no rhyming anything in it, and that was my prompt, as it were, and to tell that story.
And that song punches me in the chest every time I hear it, and I've been listening to it for 20 years.
And that's a big old chest you got there too.
It is a big old chest, slightly smaller than it used to be, but
good for you.
Still pretty big.
Good.
You were one of the inspirations there. Do you remember you stopped me at NERFA last year, and you were like,
what did I say?
You said something along the lines of, you should do something so you stick around.
Well, you were a big boy.
I was. I still am, but slightly less.
I'm fighting it too. COVID's a strange place to lose weight. Some people are gaining it. Some people are losing it. I've lost. I just get sick of eating. I said, oh, shit, food again? I'm so sick of food. I'm going to eat some paper or something. Let me. I just got sick of eating, man.
Well,
those of you in radio, and Vance just shoved paper into his face.
I did.
We are currently in talks. We run this turns into a YouTube video. We edit it and put it up about a week after the interview, and about same time period we also put it up as an audio podcast. Jake has taken the primary responsibility in narrating all visual cues that occur during a conversation, which is, I think, fitting. His dulcet tones work better than mine, I think. But
that's great. You guys, I'm proud of you.
Trying.
What's the tribal mischief? What does that mean? Where's that from?
It's a name. It is. Yeah. It's a name, as most of my naming ideas come to me in fever dreams. I can't remember exactly when it occurred, but Jake and I were trying to talk about all the stuff that we wanted to do that wasn't specifically pesky related. Because what we're running into is, every time we put on a show and people associated with pesky, they immediately assumed we were doing it for our own benefit.
Right.
And that was getting in the way of actually being able to make it work, because people weren't seeing it as a benefit. They weren't seeing it as a charitable thing or trying to help out organizations. They saw it as us just trying to promote ourselves. So we kind of went the other direction. We started Tribal Mischief initially to sort of push the idea of, specifically, we're part of this wonderful community. We love it to death, but it needs to change to survive. Like UU coffee houses 50 years from now, who knows, but I don't see them as being the backbone of the fiscal reality of a traveling singer-songwriter anymore. So you gotta, we're trying to ask ourselves questions as people that have lived, at least partially as musicians, but also as tech people. How do we marry the two? How do we marry the wonderfulness of the organic feel of feeling like you're part of a community and all this fun stuff with this virtualization?
And how do we bring that to audiences? How do we, the whole where art meets audience? How do we bring these incredible musicians like, a Vance Gilbert, for example, and bring them to people who wouldn't come to a coffee house or wouldn't come to a folk show or whatever it was? And how do we broaden that tent? And that was sort of the driving force.
So, where did the name come from? Did you answer that in that tirade? All that shit you said was nice, man. That was good, man. I love when white people do that. They say a whole bunch of stuff, and black people, we be like, but that was good. Woo, man.
On a simple level?
Ron said, well said, Ethan. We need to recognize the need for change. If somebody needs to be changed, you need to recognize it, because otherwise it'll start to stink. Yeah.
Yep. In a really, really simple version, tribal, I meant it mostly just in the finding your people, which I think the folk community's done a really good job at. But
Yeah,
mischief.
that's racist. But go ahead.
All right, fair enough.
All right.
I'll take it.
No, I'm even man. I'm just teasing. I'm just teasing because I'm
That's
teasing.
the drinking game from this podcast. Is Vance calls one of us racist?
I'm teasing you. I'm teasing you because
I deserve it. Listen, man. We carried around, because I am dense enough not to have seen it, we carried around a plaster racist monkey with us for years on the road.
You've seen it. It was at the merch tent at Falcon Ridge.
Oh,
You've probably
no.
seen that thing before.
And I never really made the connection. When I started making the connection, it had I got it from a friend that died. It had just had that weird connection that made it sort of hard. But we've always had this relationship with that imagery and tribes and that kind of notion of togetherness. And we always meant it in the best of ways. But I also, I should be called on some stuff. Sometimes I'm just a dumb white guy.
There's a lot of make up a term. There's a lot of unmonkeying out there right now, and I think that's fair. I think people should be allowed to demonkify when they need to. They shouldn't steal somebody else's name. I'm talking about Lady Antebellum, Lady A, that whole thing.
Oh, that was such a special level of density.
We're just so stupid. We'll just call ourselves Lady A, which still stands for Antebellum, but it won't be quite as offensive.
And we'll sue.
I don't care. I don't care. My master's going away. It's like, really, bitches? And then this blues lady had the name Lady A since the 80s. When these kids are like
zygotes.
Mama, me poo poo. Lady A is singing the blues, so Mama will change you later. Okay, we steal her name when we get older. It's like, oh my!
Steal her name and then sue her for it. Like that was like the balls that just like my head exploded. I was like, "You what now?"
That's it. That's it.
You sued the black person that was here before you? Is that what you did? Is that what you did?
Right? But the Dixie Chicks with chicks. I mean, that's part way cool. It's part way cool. As a budding feminist, chicks is still kind of, to be honest, like.
Well, I mean, and I'm not making this argument at all, but I've heard the argument made that if a woman decides to call herself a chick, she's more than welcome to do it, and certainly that argument has been used in other contexts as well. And I'm not.
I know what you're trying to say. Well, if black people can call themselves niggers, why can't I call it? Because you can't.
I cannot.
You cannot walk around with your little white box.
Do not want to. I do not ever.
I keep a little white box.
Hang on. So Vance is holding up the smallest Chinese food container I've ever seen. Vance, did you just line up white props to bring on because you knew we were going to be here? Is that what happened?
I don't need to line up white props. I'm giving you white props. You guys get props from me for just existing. You guys are unmitigated gifts. This actually had some friends of mine gave me this beautiful hummingbird, and it came in this little white box. And,
that's great.
It's just sitting here because I like the box, but I thought I'd use it because you guys are white and offensive, and I thought it would be appropriate for what we're doing today. I just thought that would be a appropriate thing for the guy that looks like me over here, and the other one over here that got the Charles Manson haircut. What's up with that there, Ethan? Somebody needs to cut that, man. But
at least I got rid of the McVeigh beard. I had that going for a little while, and that was sort of a point where I'm like,
Man, Sharon Tate's family is looking at you on this podcast right now going, like, what the fuck? It's like...
Ethan, 10 years ago, we got on stage for 5 minutes, and Vance beat the shit out of us. So what was Ethan's brilliant goddamn idea? Let's bring him on here for 2 hours and just flog us mercilessly.
Some people are slow learning as a motherfucker. That's what that is.
10 years. 10 years we've been learning that lesson.
I didn't remember. That is why I have this is why I have a career in folk music. Because these old promoters like Ann Saunders, who's on here right now, and Ron Alaska, or whatever his name is, all these old promoters, they're so old after they have me, they forget that they have me, and in 2 years they have me back. And then when my set starts, they go like, oh shit, that's right.
Oh my God.
We know that is not the case. There are places, as I said earlier, Falcon Ridge, you were the MC of Falcon Ridge for me. For years, to the point where I remember the first time I'd been there 3 years in a row, and you'd been there all 3 years, and then you weren't there, and I was like, "What happened? Is something wrong with Vance?"
No, that's Ann. That's Ann programming, and I have great respect for that and her.
Yep.
Ann is such a love. Ann, will actually, if I'm doing something out in the area that needs a push out where she is, she'll like splash my gig on her mailing list. Now, who does that? I mean, she is.
Yeah.
She's a goddess, and she knows what she's doing. She knows how to walk around in dirt and stagecraft and how to control people who are shouting a cappella tunes from the stage, and a guy driving around going ice and everything else that goes on out there.
I've watched you lead yoga, I think, during an Alice Paul set at Falcon Ridge. I remember you being in front of the stage and doing all sorts of things.
I was interpretively dancing. Come on.
Oh, you were. I apologize. Interpretively dancing.
That's a big difference than leading yoga. I wasn't asking
Oh,
nobody to breathe. I was
me.
asking people more to hold their breath. I had to wait till I was done more than anything else.
I thought you were just trying to take Jody's job from her.
Take whose job?
Jody.
See, talk about a third wall. Jody and I, we have sort of an unspoken tip of the hat from the deaf community, because she's not supposed to comment at all, and I'm supposed to leave her alone. But the deaf community is when Jody steps on the stage with me, you see all the deaf community people go like, it's like, check it out. We're very proud of that. And but this year we have for a lot of my set will be Nancy. I can't remember Nancy's last name. All those people out there that interpret are brilliant. They're calling you up, asking you for lyrics, the stuff. So that they can get the interpretation of it, and then you get a note back saying, "Oh my gosh, that's what that says. I hadn't really taken it in and heard it from now. I love it." That Jody used to do that to me all the time. She says, "Oh my God, it's like I'm hearing this for the first time," and that's like a win.
Yeah.
That somebody gives that much of a shit to take it in and not only to work it on the fly, but to do the kind of homework that those men and women do that interpret. It's wonderful.
I think next time we have you on, because hopefully there's going to be a next time where I sucker you into it, because you, like that promoter, will forget that you were already here. We'll invite Jody to come as well, and we'll just set her up over on the side and cover the entire event.
Oh, well, it's fine with me as long as you pay her, because she's she's not for free, and nor should she be. She's a leading proponent of sign language interpretation in the Northeast, I believe. She's a badass. She's known by a lot of people and hard to get a hold of when it comes to work, because she's that good. Yeah, man.
She has schooled us relatively well. She's helped us. We've got the lounge stage historically in the past. We've had it interpreted at least 4 or 5 of the last couple of years. It's something that I give Anne a lot of credit for realizing how important it was. And really being the proponent that she is. She's the one that brings them to NERFA as well.
Yeah, I made a lot of friends through the deaf community that way, and it's yeah, they get to, and that's why Jody is really particular when she does the kind of hiring she does. That she gets people that get the poetry, that understand how the
Yeah.
poetry is landing, and I also like the fact that whoever's mixing mixes with a little bit of bass, because deaf people can certainly hear something when it's thumping you in the chest. So the combination of those, I'm going to take a wild guess, is an experience. If that is not the case, if anybody here is deaf and wants to correct me on that, but I do believe it is a non-sound but feel experience along with language, and doesn't get any. Again, the full circle thing, the fact that anybody would think that something I'm saying or doing is worthy of interpretation language-wise means the world to me.
Well, the joy of the two of you interacting on stage is something that it's of legend at Falcon Ridge, at least. I know that people look forward to, and I know I've talked to Jody, and she's been like, "No, Vance is mine. I get Vance."
Yeah, she's sensitive. She doesn't want to be a hog. She doesn't want to be a hog, but people recognize that there's history. So
Yeah.
yeah. That's great.
Yep.
That's great.
No, it's great. So we're probably getting relatively close to wrapping up. I know we've.
You guys, I have no words for how much fun this was. This is
Thank
this
you,
is
Vlad.
worth rushing through my second fish talk on this evening.
We appreciate it.
You both are. There's a real chemistry between you, and you make that for the third. But we all have known each other for years, so we knew it was going to be easy schmeezy. But
True.
The hard part was keeping it under 2 hours, which
no, we did pretty well. Come on.
oh
now.
yeah, there's no time limit.
Well, you guys did the first half hour. You kept it under 2 hours with me. So I have nothing to do with the talkative white box bullshit you guys are doing for the first half hour. That's
what I want on a t-shirt.
That's
just a white box on a white t-shirt. There you go.
I carry my guilt in this.
Oh, I'd need a much larger box, Vance. Much larger.
That sounds wrong in about 30 ways, my friend. What you just said. Sorry, it just does. I mean, I need
Vance Gilbert, everybody.
At least Vance Gilbert.
Thank you, Vance. And
so much, Vance.
I'm really not only are excited to have you here tonight, but we're really excited to have you Thursday to really close out the lounge stage.
Oh shit! Is that this Thursday?
That's this Thursday. It's like right down to
Yeah.
the
Okay,
street.
we're good.
Okay, good. And I'm excited. Jake and I have been trying to sort of put our money where our mouth is as it relates to these conversations we've been having about opening the doors wider to the community, inviting more voices in of very different backgrounds. And I'm really excited that you aren't the only chip in the cookie this week. You aren't the only chip in a number of different ways. We've got people of Inuit descent from up in Canada playing with us. We've got all kinds of representatives from the LGBTQ community, and it was honestly one of those things that we've been doing our best to try to keep that in mind. And one of the people that's really mentored us unofficially in that has been Justin Nordell down at the Philadelphia Folk Song Society.
Oh, great!
Who
Wonderful.
Has really done a pretty stellar job of realizing that while there should always be a stage for you, Ellis, and Susan Warner, we need some other people in there as well. So,
I'm the first one to say. I said that.
Yeah, I know.
In a thing, please.
Yes.
Christine Lavin is quoted as saying, "There are 365 days of the year, and I can't play all of them. So kudos to you."
Well, it's our pleasure being able to have this conversation with you, and I hope you come back, only because the nature of what we're trying to do here, when we started it was the question that sort of came up, is this an interview show? And I don't think it is. I think it's a conversation, because I think that's what we as a culture are missing.
We did
We
that.
have-
We talked about shit.
Oh yeah, we did.
Yeah,
We
so-
absolutely did.
What are
But
you complaining about? What's wrong with
I'm
you?
not complaining. I'm saying the nature of
Why
any
you-
conversation
why
is
you still
that it.
talking? Why are you still talking about stuff? We know what tribal mischief is. It's like people in some tribe doing naughty shit. That's what tribal mischief is, and that's what the name come from. And
Sounds about right.
you had to have me on so you could feel good about the tribal thing. And the mischief part is me saying a bunch of shit that has to be cut out later so you can finish under 2 hours. So that's
See, now he
what,
called us racist without even calling us racist. I mean,
Well,
he's even
that's-
getting sneaky with it.
Jake, all I got to say to you with your little white box. Or
That's what
not,
that's what I was
clearly not a
waiting
big
for.
enough box for Ethan. I'm sorry I wrecked your show tonight, you guys.
You made my week, sir.
There's a lot of
And
SMH over there. I see a lot of smack my head
There's
over there.
there's a whole lot of that.
You guys,
as they're up.
you guys have it going on. This is
I'm-
great.
it's just super.
Close your show.
All right, we will close the show, but
You don't
thank you
fucking-
so much. We'll
Thank you.
we'll catch up soon. VanceGilbert.com. If you have not heard him before, please go check out his music. It's all spectacular. I am a fan of all of the records, but will always be partial to the live record because
Oh my goodness, that's so funny.
Just get-
Monday night, 7:30, YouTube.
Pajama.
Pajama party.
Pajama
Yes.
party.
Yeah.
Please watch because it's a ton of fun. Any guests this week or just you?
I don't do guests. I'm not putting
Oh.
anybody else on there because it would just be a bunch of white people and I can't be bothered. No, but this week is songs by people I know and love. So I will be covering some Ellis Paul.
Very nice.
I will be covering some. I've been doing some Michael Smith each week because of his pending hospice illness, and I will be doing some. I guess I can say it. I'll have it ready by tomorrow night. I'm doing some Jonathan Brooke.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm going to cover a Jonathan Brooke tune that I haven't done in years.
Know what I'm doing
And,
tomorrow.
I'm going to do some Sean Colvin.
story era or post story era?
What is this off of?
I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I just
No, I think this is pre-story.
nice.
What? Oh, you mean Jonathan Brooke? You said
Yeah.
story or stories?
Oh, I said Jonathan Brooke in the story or post Jonathan Brooke in the story.
Oh,
When she and
story era.
Jennifer King. Nice.
And
Awesome.
the Ellis Paul tune will be before stories, I believe. So
Say
Yeah,
any or say something. Say
I don't remember. I don't know his
I'm-
whole catalog. You know, that's another cat with a whole lot of. So don't be asking Ellis Paul questions. Say fuck him. I'm just here to do. We're here to talk about Vance.
absolutely.
You know,
Monday night on YouTube, Vance's
Monday night,
Pajama Party.
7:30.
Absolutely,
Bring
check
your
it
kids
out.
Clean.
Vance, thank you so much. This has
Oh
been
my
great.
God. This has been a blast, you guys.
All right. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Love you guys. Thank you so much for the time.
Oh,
Thanks.
our pleasure. Oh, I should probably change those names. It doesn't look quite right that way. We'll go to
There we
this. There is something about Vance that I could talk to him forever because he is so fundamentally interesting and fun and funny and inviting and giving as a conversationalist, as a performer. It's yes, I'm white. But like there's and maybe it's part of the comedy side of what he does, but part of working with Vance on stage, off stage is he is such a star, but he never lets that get in the way of sharing the stage or of sharing and you know shining the spotlight on other people, and that is such a wonderful combination of skills that I'm.
And it's always
I feel
in service of the music and the audience and the experience in the performance. Like we've watched him berate people. He took down Eric Lee on fiddle on the lounge stage a bunch of years ago and destroyed this poor kid who was shaking in his boots to begin with. but it is all like the audience gets that it is all in service of the music. No one ever questions that. We watched him chase somebody out of a festival one time, again in service of the music. Like it's just it's incredible to see, and it was incredible to get to talk to him tonight.
Absolutely. A little bit more behind the scenes, not business, but I'm trying to figure out more about Twitch. We've pulled you guys, forced you over to this new space, and it was built for video gamers. So a lot of the things that are kind of built into it are definitely, I'm not that old, but I'm old enough that it's not my generation. But apparently one of the big things that most subscribers get for us is custom emotes and your particular ability to use those when you want to in channel. So I am in the process of coming up with custom emotes from our guest, from Jake, and from me. And the first one that's been put up there is for people that subscribe for 2 months. If you subscribe for 2 months, you get this wonderful, wonderful little meme of me drinking a Mai Tai and causing Jake to laugh. I believe that was that wasn't last week, was it? That was 2 weeks ago. Right? I can't remember. Weeks, time, COVID. But anyway, we're trying. We're going to be doing more stuff for members. We're going to be doing more content specifically for membership. We're going to be here for the lounge stage on Thursday, and it's going to be a really fun night. And please,
put up that schedule, Ethan.
Well, first I will put up my borderline serial killer advertisement that I put together, and even in the middle of doing it, I'm like, this is that. Well, to Vance's point, a little Charles Manson-y. But it was my goal to sort of try to get everyone's head in there because there's a lot of people playing and it's going to be a great night. And part of the difficulty with this entire version of the world in COVID land is that you don't get to see artist interaction with other artists or with audience. And what we found in this particular medium is this actually gives a real feel for artists interacting. They can't play together, but they can cheer each other on. They can tell stories. They can do that kind of thing. And I think that, for me, that's the essence of a really good folk show.
And they can respond to the audience as well. That they get that there's an audience there.
Yeah.
Which is what we love about all of you interacting with us during these podcasts and sharing your comments and all of that.
So you guys get to be the first people to actually see the official lineup, and that is right here for you. We're going to get this. This is going to officially go online tomorrow, so everyone will be able to see it. But I'm super excited about this lineup. There's so many wonderful people, both old favorites of the festival as well as new folks, wonderful talents that just we haven't been able to get down. Some of them because they're in Canada, and that's a long trip. And this entire internet thing makes it a lot easier, but we're really excited to Vance's point earlier. Those other people with the bad band name, we're about 9. Brian, Katie going to be there. We're excited to see them. Our good friends, fest favorites, Mia Byrne, Kirsten Maxwell are going to be there. One of our favorite people from the Boston scene who hasn't really gotten into the folk scene, at least the Falconbridge folk scene, Dinty Child. Super excited to see him. He just put out a spectacular record. Most people in the scene probably know him specifically as part of Session Americana, a spectacular group. But we're excited for them. Just so many people here are really great. And we've got our friends from Canada, Mike McKenna, Annie Sumi, Tragedy Ann, all coming down. Super excited for that. For my money, the best songwriter in the folk scene right now, the person who is just writing songs that just, don't, Vance has subtlety to him. Vance has subtlety to him. He can use the surgeon's knife. Rachel does not use a surgeon's knife. Rachel just rips in, grabs the heart, and then does some wonderful Irish step dancing on top of it. Rachel Kilgore is just a hell of a songwriter. Super excited to have her. And, of course, our final round, Vance with Chris Matthews, Heather May. These are this will just be so much fun. If for no other reason than I believe that Heather, Chris, and Vance will all give each other equal amounts of shit in the most wonderful of ways while being.
Just wait.
They are. That'll be a really great round. But I'm excited for that. Most wanted artists from last year. Zoe Mulford's going to be part of it. Just so many people. I'm not going to do it one by one. I already did like 80% of it, and I feel bad. But we'll close it. We want to just thank you guys for tuning in. This is week 8.
This week 8. Next Sunday is going to be.
That's going to be our good friend Kimberly Sinclair.
Kimberly Sinclair. She's been working on the Philly Folk Festival. She's done tons and tons of work. She does Spin Count up in Canada. And we've seen her at a bunch of NERFOs and is a fantastic member of the music community. So she will be joining us next Sunday on twitch.tv/Tribal Mischief at 8 p.m.
Part of that conversation that we're going to be having with her, and we'll also be showing during the episode next week, we'll be showing some videos from the lounge stage just because we don't want to deprive you guys of music. But one of the great parts of that conversation is Kimberly is a spectacular advertising and promo person. And when I say that, there are a lot of those kind of folks in the folk scene, but they generally only live in the folk scene. One of the wonderful things about Kimberly, one of the great things about Kimberly is she's done network TV work. She's done international promotion. She's done 10,000 person types of events. So I'm looking forward to having the conversation in, what is the differentiator between what those groups are doing, what we're doing, and is there sense in us trying to pursue some kind of connection between the two, and that'll be fun, I think. So if you're interested particularly in the backside of how do you get the audience to come to the art, which is something that we care about deeply, please tune in next week. That'll be fun. And also that 5-hour music festival on Thursday, I'd come to that too, and the Falcon Ridge Folk Festival overall
all next weekend.
Yeah,
go to falconridgefolk.org.
I believe, right?
Thank you. Right.
So thanks to everyone. We'll call it. I am Ethan Baird.
I am Jake Bush. falconridgefolk.com. Don't go to .org. That's not a website. Check us out on your favorite podcasting apps. And we are here. You can find us on YouTube. Search for Tribal Mischief Podcast on YouTube, and please subscribe there.
Yes. We're at 30. We're at 39. When we get to 100, we get our own URL. I want it so bad.
I want to search anymore.
Then we can just give. Right now, if we were to give people the URL, it would be just go to youtube.com/UQX @ It's not pretty.
It's not pretty. So yeah, check us out. Check us out here Thursday 7 p.m. twitch.tv/Tribal Mischief next Sunday at 8 p.m. And have a great week.
All right. See y'all later.